All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. You know, in the Orisha tradition, we have a variety of spiritual instruments, one of which is a medicine we would refer to as medicine. Maybe you would call it a charm, a device, some incantations, however you can understand it, that would enable time travel. The one I'm familiar with is called kanako. And I remember my Oluo telling me a story about his father using kanako to enable them to travel from the farm to the city in a matter of minutes, something that should have taken them maybe a day to travel. They were able to walk in a matter of just a few minutes. And so, in that regard, time travel is a real thing within our tradition. And at the same time, um, time travel is something that's not, well, let me put it to you this way. Time travel as a strict practice or discipline is something that is reserved to ritual specialists who are steeped in the tradition in the way that I just described. Not everybody can use kanako, but life experience, all time is magical, right? Everyone is governed by time. Even our ebo, everything that we do when Ifa speaks, uh, uh, how things will manifest is relative to time. So Ifa is going to pronounce what's going to happen on the horizon, but we have to wait. Is it going to be a week? Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be 6 months? Is it going to be 5 years? But what Ifa says is going to manifest. That is the nature of fate. Fate represents the sequence of events that have to happen in order to transform your consciousness and raise your awareness in a particular way to make you into the kind of being that you are destined to be, for you to be whole in the fulfillment of your destiny. That is what Oromila's role is. And so, in that, things aren't necessarily fixed as to when they have to happen. So, in other words, the reason why Ifa doesn't say that on Thursday, January 22nd, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to the corner of 5th and Main and you're going to see a red car and a woman in a white dress is going to come out and hand you that. You know what I mean? Ifa doesn't have to be that specific because Ifa just needs you to understand and prepare yourself for the eventuality of such a thing. It is going to happen. When it is going to happen is secondary, but the fact is, it is going to happen. And when it happens, this is how you need to conduct yourself. These are the things you need to do. These are the things you need not do. So, in that regard, time becomes the active ingredient in determining your behavior, what's appropriate. Now, let's say Ifad tells you something is going to happen. Ifad says that you are going to encounter a situation wherein you are going to stumble upon a wealthy person who's going to need support. You're going to provide support for this person, and they're going to compensate you beyond what is owed. Okay. And so that opportunity comes, it presents itself, and you miss the boat. You don't recognize the wealthy person, or you were in a bad mood, or you forgot all of your materials. You didn't really have what you needed, and so you didn't perform. So, essentially, you missed that opportunity. But that occurrence still must take place. It still needs to happen. But you've got to wait until that opportunity circles back around again, because time unfolds in a pattern. Just like we have the set days of the week, we got the weeks of where we have the months of the year, and then, years unfold in patterns as well. Life isn't just, time isn't just a straight line of progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It repeats in patterns. So you missed the boat this time around, but you'll catch the boat potentially the next time around. Here's the catch. The next time around, everything may be reconfigured. Everything will be reconfigured. So you're going to play a different role. The scenario is going to be the same, but instead of being in position as a merchant who's going to take care of this wealthy person, now you're a doctor. Or instead of being a doctor who's going to tend to this wealthy person, you are someone who's parking cars. Instead of the wealthy person being your father, the wealthy person ends up being your son, right? Everything is totally rearranged, but the experience is the same. You still need to go through and conduct yourself according to the same things that you were told once upon a time. It's just going to come in a totally different configuration. And if you study the verses of Ifa, you'll see that this is the case. You know that it's all kinds of characters who are in a lower position who support ones who are in a higher position, where the weak and the vulnerable end up providing strength and wisdom for the strong and the privileged. But that dynamic can play out in 100 different ways, right? Like I said, it could be merchant to king, it could be soldier to nurse, it could be father to son, it could be brother and sister. There's a whole variety of different motifs that are going to, set the stage for this particular dynamic to play out. What you need to understand is that when you have the experience where Ifa has told you something that you need to do, and for whatever reason you fail, you drop the ball, you miss the mark, you don't recognize that opportunity, you didn't see what was before you, and so it passes you by. What happens is that a lot of people become atrophied at that point. A lot of people stop functioning at that point. They give up, or they become resolved to that this is the end of the equation. There's nothing else for me to do. And just like I said, they atrophy. A lot of people atrophy when they miss their golden opportunity. Okay. And in those instances, months and years go by, and you see that a person hasn't progressed. You haven't evolved, right? People around you can notice it. You say, wow, ever since this thing happened, you really haven't progressed. You've remained stuck. Um, that big job interview, or that big contract, or that big rehearsal, or the project that you were trying to get, and you dropped the ball on it. In reality, it was only one part of your life, but in your mind, you become resigned to the fact that everything has come to a standstill because you missed it. You start telling yourself some other story about what that means. And in the story that you start to tell yourself, it justifies stagnation in your life. And so then the opportunity represents itself again and again and again and again. And every time it presents itself, you get more and more discouraged. You become more and more um, resigned. You give up a little bit more every single time you see that opportunity. You recognize it on a on an instinctual level, even though the scenario looks totally different, even though the motif, right? You've totally switched characters. You're not the merchant anymore. You're not the doctor. You're not the right. You're not the mother. You're not the son. You switch roles over and over and over again, but you still recognize within your soul that this is the opportunity that you missed way back when. But now you've lost the will to engage. Now you've lost the confidence to take that chance. Now you don't even prepare yourself for that opportunity because you don't believe that it's even within the realm of possibility. And so you are traveling through time in that regard, because what is going to happen 100 years from now, 300 years from now, that lesson is going to be there waiting for you, because that is what your soul must undergo in order to be made whole. Right? Some people will say the lesson will continue to repeat itself until you master it. And I think there's a grain of truth to that. And it lesson, in the sense that lessons represent learning. Learning represents change. When you learn a lesson, you change. You find it within yourself to be different so that you can act differently, so that you can realize another aspect of yourself. Because the only way to know what you have and who you are and what you're made of is to be tested. And so all of these different experiences that you're having are they are tests in order for you to validate your prenatal choice. They're tests in order to verify for you, yes, this is really who you are. This is what you really came to do. So my concern for my people, those who are seeking fulfillment and wholeness on the journey of life, and you've chosen Orisha lifestyle to guide you through that journey, I want to encourage you to continue to muster the will, to continue to remain open and flexible within your mind and within your heart. And uh, even more importantly, to stay focused on what it is that you know is possible for you. There's a spark within you. There's a divine spark. There's an inspiration that brought you into the world. And that inspiration is, your greatest imaginable impact. There's a vision that you had when you're already looked over the vast spectrum of possibilities and said that I'm going to be born at this place at this time. These will be my parents, and this is going to be what I bring into the world. These will be my natural gifts and talents. There was something that you knew that you could contribute to the world. You gotta stay focused on that. You gotta revisit that focus and re-clarify that focus, and stay sharp, stay completely dedicated to that focus that brought you into the world. That is what is going to give you the will and the inspiration and the hope to do things just a little bit differently, to try one more time, to wake up and give it one more swing, to stand and deliver. Just remain where you are, and don't sit down. Don't back out. You know, don't remove yourself from the equation without even trying. Stay put. But it's the vision that you have. It's that confidence that that vision can come to reality if you are present and you're prepared. I need you to focus on that thing, relentlessly on that thing. Believe in that thing as it is a living entity, and that it wants you to accomplish that thing as much as you want to accomplish it. This is why they say what you're seeking is also seeking you. Your contribution is your future self. The outcome, the accomplishment. Let's say you come up with a cure for some disease, right? Let's say that's your task, that's your mission. That mission represents your future self, your higher, elevated, most evolved self. That the fulfillment of your destiny represents a version of yourself that already exists in the future. You chose it. It's just there waiting for you. Well, it isn't even just there waiting, it's reaching out for you. It is where it is in space and time, but you've got to reach out for it. And every time you reach out for it, you make contact with it. You get a little bit closer, you get a little bit deeper, you evolve a little bit more and become that version of yourself that is capable of accomplishing whatever it is that you chose as your divine mission. But the key is for you to remain focused on it. The more you can remain focused on it, the more you can see it and feel it and know that it is real, the easier it will be for you to be whatever the situation calls for. Whatever the circumstances dictate and require of you, you're going to be able to transform and be whatever you need to be in order to accomplish your mission. Okay? This is, as always, a message to the leaders. I'm looking for people who are ready to put everything aside so that they can start to make the contributions that will heal their lives and heal the lives of those who they are destined to serve. If you're one of those people, visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. Find out how I can help you take your practice and your life to the next level. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.